Hey, busy mamas, are you looking to get something nutritious, kid friendly, and budget friendly on the table really quick? Today I'm sharing a simple spaghetti with meat sauce, and it is healthy without being the expensive jar brand. So let's get cooking. So we all want to give our families the most nutritious meals we possibly can on the budget that we're working with. And if you're like me, the expensive jar brands of spaghetti sauces that are the most healthy are about $6 to $8 a jar, and that doesn't really fit my budget because I know that I can make it a lot cheaper. So today I'm sharing how I make our homemade meat sauce with just a can of crushed tomato, a little onion, a few spices, and a pound of ground beef. Welcome to the Savvy Saver Kitchen. If you're new here, and you probably are because this is the very first video that I'm going to post on the channel. My name is Hope, and I'm a mom of two grown children, and they survived my cooking when I didn't really know what I was doing. But today, my husband and I are definitely enjoying years of trial by error and learning on the job. So I really wanted to just start this channel to share the things that I've learned over the past 30-something years of cooking, and to share the things that the 25-year-old Hope really wished that she would have had access to seeing on YouTube back in the day before YouTube even existed. So we're going to get started with first getting some water boiling and getting our sauce started. So I'm getting started by boiling some water. This is about 2 quarts of water in a large saucepan. I am only cooking for 2 people, so I'll cook about 4 meals worth or 4 servings. So I'm going to be cooking about 8 ounces of pasta. You may want to cook more than that for your family. In another saucepan, I am going to get a little drizzle of olive oil heating up, and I'm going to chop up about 1/4 of an onion. So we like to cook with onions in our household, but we don't eat a lot of it because we have stomachs that don't agree with too much onion. So I'm only going to use about 1/4 of this medium onion. It's actually kind of small. And I may not even use all of that. We'll see. I am going to chop that up pretty small. If you also have family members who don't care for the texture of onion, then another thing that you can do in order to get the taste, you can either cook with granulated or ground onion powder, or you can also grate your onion, and that really takes away a lot of the texture. I've never done that myself, but I know that a lot of people do it to try to sneak it in. So this is actually just a little bit more onion than what I want, so I'm only going to use about half of this. I'm going to add in a little bit of salt while those onions caramelize a little bit. I'm going to wait until they're about, not really caramelized, but just a little translucent. And I am using just a can of plain crushed tomato. This has nothing added to it. It does have a little bit of chunkiness to it, so if the texture does bother kids in the family or someone else, one thing that you can do is run this through like a Ninja or your blender or something, and blend it up a little bit to make it a little bit smoother. We in our household are pretty much okay with the texture of crushed tomatoes, and I prefer crushed tomatoes over tomato sauce simply because it is just has a fresher taste to it and not quite so starchy. tomato sauce is. I'm going to add that sauce in, or the crushed tomatoes, and this really comes together super fast. I'm going to add roughly about a teaspoon of garlic powder. If you have fresh garlic, that's way better. And roughly a teaspoon of dried basil. Again, fresh is always better if you have that. And I am going to get this stirring, and I'm going to set it aside while I brown my ground beef. So I'm going to let that saucepan heat up just a little bit. Now, this ground beef that I'm using is some that came like in a large container, and I divided it up to roughly 1 pound bags. I didn't weigh this one. This is roughly a 1 pound bag. And if you see how I've stored it, I've rolled it out so that it stacks up in the freezer very nicely. Another good benefit to storing your ground beef this way is that when you get ready to use it, it thaws really quickly. So if this had not been thawed, I could have just pulled it out, put it in the pan, and it would have thawed in the pan really quickly. Yeah, this looks like it came out to be a little bit more than 1 pound of ground beef. And I've got that a little bit too hot. I'm going to turn it down a little. And I'm going to season this ground beef. Again, another layer of the meat sauce. I'm just going to season it the same way that I did the tomato sauce. So, a little salt. I'm going to add a little pepper to this. About a half a teaspoon of basil, and probably about a half a teaspoon of ground garlic powder. Now, my water is starting to boil. So I have 8 ounces of spaghetti, just regular spaghetti noodle here, that I'm going to pop into that pot. This will give us probably 4 servings. We'll end up with more sauce than we need for 4 servings of spaghetti. So you definitely can stretch this a little further than just for 2 people or 4 people. But if you do have meat sauce left over, definitely stick it in a jar or covered container, store it in the refrigerator. It makes a great pizza sauce for later in the week. We do pizza night every Friday night. It's a staple, regular on our menu, and I love it because I get up on Friday morning. I know what's going to be for dinner Friday night, so I make the pizza dough and let it proof throughout the day, and then it just takes a few minutes to throw together a pizza and stick it in the oven, and dinner is really quick on Friday night. So the only thing that varies is the toppings that we put on it. So part of what we do is hold on to leftover bits and pieces of vegetables throughout the week, or maybe scrap pieces of meat that are left over from a meal, and we'll vary the toppings based on what we have in the refrigerator. So that is pretty much already browned. I have set a timer for, let's see, I forgot to set my timer. I am going to set my timer for 10 minutes. If you prefer your pasta to be a little more al dente or a little with a slight chew, you might want to do 9 minutes. If you like it really soft, go 10 or go 11 or 12 minutes maybe. Okay, this is browned enough for me, so I'm going to turn that down. I'm going to slide my sauce back forward and transfer the ground beef to our sauce. Scoop that out. Trying to not get all of the grease from that, but some of it is good. Some I will save and pour over the dog's food. We have a house full of dogs. Well, we have a house dog and we have 2 outside dogs that don't understand that they're outside dogs. They're supposed to be livestock guardian dogs, but they decided a long time ago that they really like the air conditioning in the summer and they really like the heat in the winter. So they spend a good portion of their daytime when they're napping inside, and they work at night guarding our chickens, and so they do their job at night. So we let them rest inside during the daytime. You gotta turn that back burner off. So basically your sauce is ready now. You could serve it right away, but you also, the longer that you can let it simmer, the richer the flavor gets. If you happen to have the luxury of making your sauce ahead of time and putting it in a slow cooker to let it simmer throughout the day, it would be incredible in the evening. So if you are a slow cooker recipe lover, or if you are a slow cooker user, I've never been a huge fan of slow cookers. I just prefer a fresher meal, but spaghetti is definitely one meal, or chili, that I would make in a slow cooker, because it's just really nice to be able to walk in after a busy day and be able to smell dinner like already almost done. So our pasta is about halfway done. I'm just stirring it. There's a little bit of a debate over whether or not you should add oil to your water when you're boiling pasta. I always heard that you were supposed to add salt and you were supposed to add oil, and that keeps your pasta from sticking together. However, I later learned that if you skip the oil, then the sauce that you add to your spaghetti will stick better if you don't have oil on the pasta. So since that is a frugal step, I've just skipped putting oil in my pasta water since then. And as long as you stir it, you don't really have a problem. So our pasta is done and drained. Now I'm just going to serve that up. We're having a little green salad along with our spaghetti. 2 pretty generous portions there. Definitely more left over. side. And clearly plenty of sauce for tonight's dinner and for pizza night on Friday. So there you have it, a simple, healthy spaghetti sauce recipe with no frills. I've found that for my kids, the simpler the meal was, the better. I hope you like that, and if you are looking for more simple recipes for feeding your family on a budget and healthy meals from ingredients rather than frozen bags of processed foods, then join me for more just cooking simple, from scratch recipes that are not complicated. Enjoy tonight's dinner, and we will catch you on the next video.